Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my reading wrap up for January, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first book I read was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. And I gave this book 3.5 stars initially, but I think I would give it a 3 out of 5 now, maybe 3.25. So this book is about Jordan. She is obsessed with everything 80s, like movies, music, just everything about the 80s. And her love interest just happens to be 38-year-old Pike, who just so happens to be her current boyfriend's dad. So Jordan and Nicole, her current boyfriend, end up having to move in with Pike, and that's kind of how this all starts. So the reason I didn't like it was because Penelope Douglas wrote Jordan in a way that kind of made it seem like because she was into the 80s music and movies that she was okay for Pike. It's not the age gap that bothered me, but it's how because she liked the 80s that it was okay for her to date Pike, and I just didn't really like that aspect of it. And she also seemed really vulnerable, so I was like, I'm not really vibing with this. The next book I read was Dirty Letters by V.I. Nealand, I think is how you pronounce that, and Penelope Ward. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really liked this book. I loved it, in fact. This is about Griffin and Luca, and it's a pen pal romance. I'm just going to read my Goodreads review, just kind of filtered. But I was crying when I wrote the review because the book left me in that much pain. I didn't think I was going to cry. All I knew about the book was that it was pen pals, a little bit of spiciness in there, and that's all. I did not think I was going to cry. Sob, actually. Yeah, that's that. So, let's start from the very beginning. The Harry Styles reference. Anytime, like, Harry Styles or, like, One Direction or, like, Twilight are mentioned in a book, I'm gonna fangirl. Let me have my moment, please. Let me put the book or Kindle down and just take a deep breath. That's all I have to say about that part. Let's move on. So the next topic, I love the fact that there's mental health in this book because Luca, the main girl character in this, has anxiety and agoraphobia, which is very nice to see in a book because you don't get that often, and I think it's something that more authors should do. Is dual point of view, I forgot to mention. So the only reason I didn't give this a full 5 stars, because I did actually at first, there's this one part where just it kind of I wasn't a big fan of personally. It made sense for the book and it made sense for the characters, but I just was very upset about it. Okay, now Doc. Let's talk about Doc for a second. Doc was the most wholesome character ever. Some of my favorite parts of this book were with Doc. You need to read this book literally just for Doc. So you need to read this book. I really didn't say much about it because I feel like you kind of just want to if you want to know more, go look for a synopsis. Just kidding. That's kind of what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I feel like this is one of the books that you should go just dive into the book fully blind, like do not know much about it, because I think that made the book really enjoyable for me because some of it is like kind of said in the synopsis. This book I read was Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. And if you know me or you see me on Goodreads, like you have me on Goodreads, you know how much I love Colleen Hoover's books. And I hate to say this, but I DNF'd this one. I really thought I was gonna like it and I didn't, and I'm really sad that I didn't like it because I was starting to love it, and then bam, something happens, and then bam, something else happens, and it is just very much not fun because I wasn't connecting to any of the characters, and then the characters that I was connecting to, well, if you read like a small portion of the book, you know what I'm talking about. So I just found myself just not wanting to read it, and I was like, I'm not gonna bother reading a book that just isn't interesting me at the time, you know. Hopefully I can go back to it one day. I really would love to finish this book because I do not like DNFing books. But so basically this book is about Morgan and Claire. I don't even remember that much. But the mom doesn't want the daughter to turn out like her. I love Colleen Hoover's books, but this one just didn't do it for me. Because the one character I did like just kind of slapped me in my face, and then I just didn't want to read the book. Okay, the next book I read was The Match by Sarah Adams. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is such a cute book. I need to get the paperback as soon as possible because I loved it so much. So this book is about Evie and Jacob. Jacob is a single dad. Evie is the main girl. Evie has worked at Southern Service Paws for a couple years now. So she gets an email from Mr. Jacob talking about how he wants a service dog for his daughter, and she has epilepsy, and Evie also has epilepsy, so she can relate. So they meet up at a cafe, and she sees Jacob, and she walks over, and she's like, "Hi, I'm Evie." Like, she's super quirky. Like, this is like Grumpy Sunshine, single dad, kind of an age gap. Like, it has everything. It's not really enemies to lovers. I want to say it's almost, I don't like you at first, but then we kind of become friends, but it's also kind of forced proximity. Kind of. I don't know. Is that even a trope? Is that even a, like, I like you, I hate you at first. Like, I don't like you at first, and then we kind of become friends. Kind of, but not really. Like, we don't say we're friends. That's a new trope. Get it in writing, everyone. So he sees her and he's like, "Yeah, no, I don't like you. Like, he's like, "What are you talking about?" That was a weird sound. So he's like, "What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean service dog? Like, you're just trying to steal my money or something?" Find out what the heck he's talking about because he literally emailed her. You find out why. He does not like her. Actually, it's not like a big secret or anything. Next book I read was Archer's Voice by Sheridan. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. So this book is about Bree, and Bree experiences something really traumatic, so she decides to move to a small town in Maine where everybody kind of knows everybody. And on her very first day, she meets Archer Hale. And she has an encounter with him, and he kind of is like super nice to her, but he doesn't talk to her. Like, she tries to talk to him, and he just doesn't say anything back. So she starts asking around, and she finds out from a few of these people that she's met, and then also Archer's cousin, they're all saying, "Oh, Archer's really weird, don't talk to him." Like, so they're like, "Yeah, don't talk to Archer, he's a weirdo, like, just ignore him." Bree, she cannot help herself, and she needs to know more about Archer Hale stat. And so she does that. She finds out about Mr. Mysterio Archer Hale himself. This book is really emotional. Check trigger warnings, but to read this, it's a must read. So the next book I read was Office Grump by Nicole Snow. First of all, we need to mention the fact that we need to stop putting people on covers. No men, no shirtless men, or just absolutely anyone. We need to take them off the covers of the books, like, immediately, please. Well, I DNF'd this book. I was really loving it, and then I wasn't. The tropes: enemies to lovers, boss assistant, kind of an age gap. Not a huge age gap like Birthday Girl, but it's definitely still an age gap. So, first of all, Sabrina, I love Sabrina. She was the funniest. Okay, I'm doing a voiceover for this part because the audio got all screwed up when I was filming it. So, Sabrina is the main girl in this book, and she works for a pet furniture company. And she gets fired by some intern that she was training. So she goes to her favorite cafe after she finds out that she got fired. And she gets her favorite cinnamon coffee latte. I don't know if it's a coffee or a latte. Not really important, but I'm telling you anyways. And she gets, like, some pastry. So she goes to this, like, bench to go have her little drink and her little pastry. And some guy comes up with, like, a filming crew and a bunch of girls and is like, "I need to film here, you need to get out of here." Turns out it's Magnus. So Magnus is the CEO of a multi-millionaire company that he inherited from his father, who's, like, a total horrible man. I don't know why, but it'd be a spoiler if I told you anyways, but I DNF'd it, so I literally don't know why. So Sabrina is like, "No, I'm not gonna leave," because he asks her to leave. Like, "You need to leave." She's like, "No, it's a public bench. I'm not leaving just because this grumpy fella is trying to tell me to leave. And she dumps her cinnamon coffee latte all over her shoes. And she just walks away. So Magnus is like, wow, dang. And he's like, I want to hire her. Yeah, he's like, I want to hire her. Yeah. I don't know why, but he was like, she's a badass, and I need her to be working for me because his assistants keep leaving. And he's like, I bet she'd be good at it. So he tells his little assistant guy, find out where she is. I need her to work for me now. So after this, I read The Score by Al Kennedy, The Goal by Al Kennedy, and The Legacy by Al Kennedy. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory for Off Campus, but if you want to know about the first two books, go to my 2021 reading wrap-up because I talk about those first two books there. Okay, so book 1 in the Off Campus series is called The Deal. I gave that 4.5 out of 5 stars. That book is about Garrett and Hannah. Book 2 in Off Campus is called The Mistake. It's about Logan and Grace, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Now into the books I read this month. The first is The Score, which is Off Campus 3. It's about Allie and Dean. 4 out of 5 stars. So Allie is actually Hannah's best friend from book 1, and in that book she kind of hints that she likes Dean, like she has a little crush on him, like nothing serious, and she does have a boyfriend, but in this book the start of it is she just broke up with her boyfriend Sean. I've hated Sean since the beginning, since book 1, so this is perfectly fine for me. So one night Allie is like, Hannah, she calls Hannah and texts her, and Hannah and Grace are out with their boyfriends doing something. I think they're going to a Bruins game. So they aren't home. The only people that are home are Tucker and Dean at the off-campus house. So Hannah's like, okay, I'm going to tell them that you're coming over. Don't worry, it'll all be handled. Like, you can go over there. So she doesn't have to worry about Sean. So she goes over there, and turns out Tucker's not there. Dean's there, and Dean is known for sleeping with girls, like every single girl, and he's in the middle of about to have, with 2 people, so he's about to, get pretty serious, and Allie kind of interrupts because he wasn't on his phone, obviously, and he's like, oh, you're here, like, why are you here, like, why is Wellesley's best friend hanging out the off-campus house? So she explains to him that she and Sean just broke up, and Hannah said it'd be okay to go over so she wouldn't have to worry about him, and the two end up sleeping together, so it's kind of like a friends with benefits to lovers. I really like this one, definitely recommend. Next book is The Goal. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. This one is about Sabrina and Tucker. So Sabrina is trying really hard to get into law school. She wants to get into Harvard Law, and she's doing absolutely everything she can to get into Harvard. And one night she ends up with Tucker, and Tucker's like, wow, I cannot stop thinking about her and how good that night was. So he does like everything to make it happen again, and something happens, and I didn't think I would like that something, but I actually did, and I was happily surprised. Yeah, definitely recommend this. So the last book in the off-campus series is The Legacy. I'm going to tell you what I rated each couple, and then what I thought of the book as a whole, or what the rating. I'm not going to tell you anything about the book because it'd kind of be a big spoiler, but it's the epilogue novel, so it kind of just ties everything up. So I gave Logan and Grace 5 out of 5 stars, Allie and Dean 3 out of 5 stars, 4 out of 5 stars for Sabrina and Tucker, 2.5 stars for Garrett and Hannah. I gave the book as a whole 3.25 stars. So that's the end of this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to, it's optional. But this is going to be my last book video until February's reading wrap up because I'm getting it back to my regular Bedwars videos. If you do want more book content, comment down below what videos you want and I'll try to get to them. Okay, bye y'all, I'll see you on my next upload.